everyone. This is our live time for this week, 2 on Tuesday. That's when I normally come on here on my Facebook page. And today we're going to talk about painting loosely. And one of the biggest problems that I can think of that I know I have experienced myself, and I see a lot of times happening with some of the students that go through my courses, membership, things like that. So let's talk about what does it mean when I say paint loosely. What I mean is you are putting down paint in a way that is not meticulous, it's not detailed, it's not super hyper realistic. It's more of an impression or an idea. And a lot of times when I paint loosely, I'm doing something that is probably going to be with a palette knife, because that is one of the ways that helps me to loosen up better than anything else. But it's probably going to be some texture, heavy paint, just fast, energetic kind of painting, and that did not come naturally to me. So the stress of trying to create something that you really like can keep you from painting if it is something that you can't get past. So if you're trying to paint very loosely and you're having problems, one of the things that I recognize in myself and I've recognized in others that were taking some of my classes was that you don't have a good balance with intuition and technique. So those two things have to come together. You have to know about color and value and basic composition. You don't have to be able to do all those things perfectly, but if you have a good idea of what those things, those principles are and what they can do to help your painting to look better, then you can take that knowledge and go into something with the intent to paint it more loosely, more freely. But you still have to have that little bit of technique in there too. You still have to have some sort of guidelines that are going to help you. Even if you're painting abstractly, there are still going to be some things that you can't avoid in order to make something that looks good. So if you're having problems with just getting a loose, energetic, expressive painting, maybe you're interested in painting something that is a real subject. You're not necessarily wanting to do something that's abstract, but you want it to be a real thing that you're painting that is recognizable, but you also don't want it to look like a photograph, or you don't want whatever it is that you're painting to look like a really detailed painting. So that's what I mean by loose painting, if that makes sense. So no matter what your subject is, if you can get down just some basics about color and how colors work well together, what colors don't work well together, how you can set yourself up for a good color palette ahead of time, understanding value and how lights and darks and shadows and things work really well together, and just some basics of composition. I know this is all like boring talk, but it's really, really important. If you want to make really pretty, loose, expressive paintings, some of those technical terms are going to have to be put in your brain, and you're going to have to know those things. I'm going to show you some examples here. So let's look down over my table right here. I've got a lot of stuff here. Maybe I can get my camera to do this. Okay, so I've got one of my sketchbooks out here, and I'm going to show you an example of something that I did. I don't know what year it was, but it was a long time ago. This flower, for example, right here, I was trying to be loose. I was trying to be expressive. I was trying to enjoy myself. So all of these here, I would rank right there together. I was trying really hard to paint loosely. I was also using a brush, so take that into account also. But this flower right here is the one that I want us to focus on. And I want to focus on why this is not working out very well. Number one, just the shape of it, the composition of the flower. I mean, yes, some flowers are round, but it could be so much better if the middle part here, was a little off, or just if I could have made it a little more organic in shape, that would have helped. Also, the colors. All of these colors are warm. There's a warm pink, a warm brown, and a warm yellow. So that's another reason why it's just not good. It needs different color temperatures, and it will help it tremendously. Also, it's just really flat. It just doesn't have a lot of depth, and that is because the values, there's no really light highlights here. We've got really dark and mediums. So when I squint my eyes, which is a little trick you can do, I squint my eyes, I can't really see any highlights in this flower. And those are all things that are bad. If you're trying to paint expressively, you've got to have all of those things all together in order for it to work. Now here is another example of some flowers that did work. And when I squint my eyes, you can squint your eyes too, and that will help you see this. There are all the values that I need in those flowers. There are lights, mediums, and darks. The color temperature in these are also spot on, much better. We've got cools and we've got warms. And the composition is good also. Just the shape of it, the number of flowers that I've got here, everything works together really well. Is this perfect? No, but it is an expressive painting of flowers this could be a study that could turn into something bigger, that could be a really good painting, where these things here just kind of fell flat. So I wanted to encourage you by showing you some of the things that I've tried that did not work out well, and give you an example of things that you can put into your artwork if you're trying to paint loosely and expressively, that will help you to get to the point where you're really happy with the way that it looks. If you'll add that value, add some color changes, especially color temperature is important, and make sure that your composition is a good composition. And that's how you make good art. There are lots of things that you need to know in order to do that. And when you know those things and you can implement those things, then you're not going to need someone to show you every step of the painting. So this is sort of like the next level. If you've been watching someone else paint and they've been holding your hand for a really long time and you're depending on them to show you, use this color, use this brush, use this surface, get this result, it's really hard to get out of that rut and go out on your own and do your own thing. So just understand that it takes practice and it takes lots and lots of trial and error to get to a point where you feel confident in your own color choices and your composition choices and just whatever the subject that you're wanting to paint. And then adding on top of that, wanting it to look like a more loose and expressive painting. All of those things are technical. So I just wanted to encourage you to keep going, keep learning, and build those skills on top of each other to get to a point where you are creating things that you really, really like. So I hope this was helpful. And if you have any questions, you can post them below, and I'll come back and help as much as I can. And I'll see you back here next week on Tuesday at 2 o'clock. Bye.